Hello everyone, Jordio here, and today I have for you a video about the Nintendo 64 controller Switch Online Edition, and basically doing a quick review of it, comparing it with the original, and explaining how I use it with the original Nintendo 64 system. So just a few basics. This of course is a replica original Nintendo 64 controller that Nintendo released, intended for use with the Nintendo Switch. It's of course wireless. It has built-in rumble support, uses USB-C for charging. Overall, pretty nice replica. And here we have it next to an original Nintendo 64 controller. You can see they're pretty similar. Of course, this one being wireless, this one having a wire. Here's the back. Obviously, big difference is the original one. You could put packs inside the slot there. This one, they've elegantly found a way to, make it look like there's a controller pack or something plugged in there. So, of course, with the original controller, the slot you could use to plug in a controller pack. This was basically the memory card for the Nintendo 64. So that's kind of sort of what they're trying to make it look like there, well, without the label. I've been using this controller for quite some time now. When Nintendo released this in late 2021, and I first saw this, I knew that I did not want to use it with the Switch Online service. In fact, I don't even pay for the expansion pack. I, of course, use a original Nintendo 64. And in order to use this on original Nintendo 64, I got this adapter here called Retro Time N64 adapter with the blue retro firmware by, oh, can I get that in focus? 8-Bit Mods. So this right here basically plugs into an original Nintendo 64. It's got a sync button and a activity light or light to let you know what it's doing to sync, and basically allows you to use this and any other wireless controller. I just like the authenticity of using an actual Nintendo 64 controller with the OG system. So it's pretty neat. You get the rumble support with the adapter, and the adapter also has 4 controller pack memory banks in it. And it's important to know that they're inside of this thing and not the controller. You switch between rumble mode and controller pack mode with this button. You click it once, you'll get a large vibration. You click it again, you get a smaller vibration. The larger vibration lets you know you're in rumble mode, and then the smaller vibration lets you know that you're in controller pack mode. And then you can use the capture button to switch between the controller pack memory banks that are on this thing. You can do more customization through their web tool, but that's the simplified version of it. In order to get controller pack functionality and rumble pack functionality. One thing I wanted to note is that I've been using, both controllers. And of course, this is what an OG controller looks like when you have a rumble pack plugged in. And, I'm not too big into rumble, but when I play these old games, I do like to get the original feel. And I will say that it's much nicer using the rumble in the Switch Online controller versus using this, because most of the vibration is going on like down here. You don't really feel it very much in the handles of the controller. Versus with this, they've integrated it very well so that it's still somewhere up in this region, but it still feels very good. And so it's been awesome to use playing N64 games. it seems like Nintendo didn't really do much to make these incompatible with, not using a Nintendo Switch. Obviously, they're going to tell you how to use it with the Nintendo Switch, but they didn't really do anything to stop it from being used with a something else other than a real Nintendo Switch. It uses bog standard Bluetooth. You can use it with a PC to play with emulators, and it's just a pretty neat replica of the original, I think. Obviously, there's something different going on with the Z button. The Z button in this controller is like actually attached to the rest of the insides, versus with this one, it's attached to the housing, and you can see part of the thing it's attached to is right there. The one thing I do know about these is that they don't use the same optical encoders that the original Nintendo 64 controller does. Technically, the OG N64 controller control stick is a lot more accurate because it uses optical encoders to read its position. The rest of the industry and the rest of Nintendo products, and including this thing, use a standard potentiometer based system. So speedrunners that want a competitive advantage are still going to want to go for the original controller stick, if they can find one in really good shape. But for casual users, that doesn't matter at all. I've been using this for a variety of games in the past few weeks, and it's been great, especially with having the rumble support. The battery lasts a really long time. You can charge it with USB-C. You don't have to use a switch to charge it. You can use any USB-C source. For those wondering, this ZR button, it basically mirrors the Z button back here. It does the same thing. And for those of you wondering, how do you hold this thing? Because this is probably the most controversial controller ever made, because technically you can't use all of its features not well, at least. Like, because if you're holding it this way, then it's really hard to access the Z button. And you can bounce your thumb, over here to the control stick, but it's still kind of far away from the D-pad. So most games, when you look in their manuals, they'll have you hold the control stick like this. Like Mario Kart 64, Legend of Zelda, you're holding the control stick like this. And that's why in Zelda, to move through the menus, you use Z and R, not L and R, because they're not really expecting you to hold it like this. So it is a weird design, but, growing up as a kid, it was like, whatever, it was, the games were still fun. It's really nice to have a new version of these. So these are $50 through Nintendo's online store. Let's see. You do have to have at least a basic Switch Online membership to buy them, and you can only buy up to 4. As you could probably imagine, I bought all 4. So I have 2 of them out of their boxes, and that's why I have 2 of these retro time things. And I use them with an original Nintendo 64. So at least with something like an EverDrive, so that I can, run all the software I want, I'll forever have the ability to make use of this controller in its most authentic way. So I think that's really cool. So, oh yeah, the other thing I wanted to say is to make sure that everything runs smoothly if you do decide to do this. Make sure the controller is up to date if you can by connecting it to a real Switch and have it check for updates. And then also make sure this thing is up to date to make sure you have the latest bug fixes, because that fixed a few weird syncing issues that I had. And since I did the update, everything's been nice and smooth. All right. Well, anyway, thanks for watching this video about the Switch Online controller and the comparison to an OG controller. And have a good one.